What's up, YouTube? It's me, Mason. Back with another review. I know it's been a while since I did a review video. It's been a long time, actually, but anyways, without further ado, I'd like to get into this new review here that I'm doing of my personal laptop. I bought this about a year ago on Amazon. What we're looking at here today is the MacBook A1181. This is when the MacBooks used to be white in color, and I preferably like the white color. I think it's kind of, more my style, but this particular MacBook was made out of polycarbonate plastic, a very brittle plastic that chipped and broke a lot, and is probably one of the biggest reasons why Apple decided to go to an aluminum unibody design and kind of ditch this white plastic. But this laptop was made from 2006 all the way until mid-2009, and then it was replaced with another white-colored MacBook that I think only lasted a year. It was a little bit sleeker than this one, a little bit smaller in thickness, and it was a little bit more rounded on the edges. It looked pretty good, but for 4 years, this is what Apple provided us, a very solid laptop, and personally one of my favorites out of the lineup, even though some of the newer ones are looking pretty badass, but this one is still, it's special. It was a special time. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So we're looking at the front here. Here's the latch. This is pretty much not a literal mechanical latch, but this is where you put your fingers to open it. Looking right here, we have the indicator light, and it's pulsating to let us know that the laptop is in standby mode. Here we have an IR receiver, and I'm not entirely sure what that's for, but that's pretty cool, I guess. I'd like to know what that could be used for. And here we have an optical drive, or what Apple calls this, a super drive. It plays pretty much all your standard formats, MP3, MP4, DVDs, not Blu-rays, but I mean it'll pretty much play everything that you have in your library at home, or what your parents may have on their DVD shelf. Coming to the back, we have pretty much 2 speakers on each side. I know these look like exhaust vents, but these are actually the speakers. The exhaust vent for the laptop is actually right here in the middle, right here where the hinge is, and so it exhausts air right out the back, which is pretty neat. You don't have to worry about necessarily leaving this on the floor or on your bed like this and worrying about your vent being covered up because it's in the back. Now, I noticed with the laptop's weight, it kind of indents itself into the bed, so maybe this cover might be blocking a little bit of the flow. But at least it's not like some Windows laptops where the exhaust fan is on the bottom. Now, coming around to this side, we have all your ports, pretty much. This right here is your MagSafe port, or your power connector port, and then right here we have our RJ45. This, I believe, is a display port. We have a FireWire port. We have 2 USB 2.0 connectors, a audio input jack, an audio output jack, or your headphone jack, and a Kensington lock. Coming to the bottom of the laptop, I do have a cover on this, a case. It is an iPearl case in clear. The A1181s don't have this on the bottom standard. Right here, you would have had, the laptop's model information, manufacturing information, and other info, based on those things. Mine, it has since been worn off. This laptop is pushing 10 years of age, if not more. It's pretty old, considering I'm shooting this video about mid-2017. It's July right now, so 2017. Here we have the battery lock. You just use a coin and rotate that vertical and the battery will eject. From there you can access your 2 RAM slots, and you can also access your hard drive. you can upgrade the hard drive to a solid state if you prefer. You'd have to reflash the OS onto a solid state, and that can be an issue for this particular laptop, and I'll get into that later. Looking at the battery, it has indicator lights on it to tell you where its charge level is at. All you do is press the button, and it lights up, indicating right now I have a full charge. Coming to the top of the laptop, or the back of the display, we have the signature Apple logo. I say signature because it lights up, and that's always been a very special feature to all the MacBooks, is the Apple logo lighting up. That's just specific to MacBooks. I haven't seen a Windows PC that can do that. I have a MagSafe T connector, which is what this laptop uses, MagSafe T connector. It's an older connector. Apple has since gone to a newer connector for the newer MacBooks, and I think even for the newest ones with the touch bar, it has an even different power connector. But here is your MagSafe T connector. Mag stands for magnetic, so all you do is just bring it to your port here, and then boom, it magnetically connects. It's neat because if your laptop's on your bed and your friend walks by and trips over the cord, it pulls right out. So there you go. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and open this thing up and let you have a look at the keyboard and the screen and give you a short tour of the OS. So as you can see right away, we're greeted with the login screen. And here is your standard Mac keyboard. Most Apple laptop users will be familiar with this keyboard, as it literally has the exact same keys that your friend's MacBook has, or even your newer MacBook has, from say 2010 all the way up to 2013, whatever. It's all the same keys, your Shift, Function, Control, Option, or Alt, Command, it's all here. And then up here are your function keys, your F1 through, 12. By default, Apple uses these keys as what the image is on them. So by default, they're set to do what their functions are. For instance, these two are brightness. This one is like multitasking. This one has a gauge on it. It does something. These two, they don't really do anything. Here's your, rewind, play, pause, fast forward, your mute, your volume down, your volume up, and your eject button for the super drive. I'm going to go ahead and put in my password, and I'll be back in a sec once I am logged into the OS. Alright, we're now back to the operating system, logged in. This is your typical Mac OS. I will go ahead and first go to About This Mac, so you can kind of see the specs we're dealing with. This particular MacBook A1181, which only ran for 4 years, comes with Intel's older Core 2 Duo processor. It has 4 gigabytes of DDR2 RAM, and it uses what Apple likes to call a Macintosh hard drive. I do not know the actual brand of the hard drive, but that's pretty much what they call it. This laptop does use an NVIDIA GeForce 9400M graphics, or integrated graphics I should say. If you're not real tech savvy, that name might sound pretty cool to you. You might think, oh, NVIDIA GeForce graphics, like this thing can game. Not really. Sadly mistaken. It's one of NVIDIA's older integrated graphics systems. I have tried to game on this, and I have failed. It can't game for nothing. It can't. But that's not necessarily why you buy a Mac. Most people buy Macs because they're solid, they're very reliable, and it's a bulletproof operating system. And I could go into more detail about how that is. There's so many things that a Mac does better, I think, than a PC. And I love PC. I'm not hating on it. I have a custom built rig that you can't see right now, but it's over to the right, and it's running Windows 7. I grew up on Microsoft, but I have a love for both companies, and I think Apple is great in its own way, and I think Windows is great in its own way. But other than that, you can see here on the memory page that I have two 2 GB sticks installed, equaling up to 4 gigs. El Capitan prefers 4 gigs minimum to run. When I bought the laptop, the old owner had only 2 gigs of RAM installed. And speaking of that, if you're looking to purchase a MacBook A1181, they're pretty old laptops. Apple doesn't support them anymore. They're pretty outdated. They cannot be upgraded to El Capitan, and don't even think of trying to put Sierra on here unless you're very tech savvy and you know what you're doing. Then it is possible, but really the A1181 I think stops at El Capitan, as Sierra will run into compatibility issues with the hardware. I've read that the Wi-Fi won't work and your trackpad won't be able to utilize all the gestures of Sierra. So El Capitan is where it stops. I do not know how to upgrade these A1181s to El Capitan or anything newer than Snow Leopard or Mountain Lion, as this laptop will not upgrade to those on its own. Apple simply just doesn't support this anymore. They cannot upgrade through the App Store normally. So whoever had this before me, I believe it came from an office. This guy found a way to get it on here, and that's awesome. I was surprised when I found it. And to be honest, if you know how to throw El Capitan on here and you're wondering how does it perform on this hardware, it does pretty good. I'll be pretty quick here. I think my camera only has like 20 minutes max, so I'll be pretty quick here. I'm going to go ahead and open up Word, just so you can see the loading times of it, and you can see how fluid it is. A neat signature Apple thing is when you shake your mouse around a lot, or you move your finger along the trackpad, the arrow gets big. That's a little feature that, to where if you lose your arrow, you can find it again. You know where it is. So you can see Word takes a few minutes to, open up. But you double click blank document and you are decently taken to the program. It looks just like it does on a Windows PC, and the, speed of the program is good. If you're a college student like I am, you will probably really depend on having Word and OneNote on here, and I'll tell you right now from experience, these programs work very nicely on this laptop with this dated hardware. Do not worry about the A1181 being able to keep up with today's demands. It still can. One thing you should know about the A1181 is that it has some dated hardware, so you will notice that the laptop will get fairly warm at times, almost pretty hot. I have hardware monitor here, which tells me my temperatures. The processor gets a little warm. You will hear the exhaust fan spool up, pretty loudly. That's nothing to worry about. The laptop normally does that a lot, but it's an older laptop with dated hardware. El Capitan and pretty much everything you throw at this laptop will work just fine. Before I get into the last thing I wanted to show you, I'm going to go ahead and spin it around just so you can see that Apple logo. It lights up via the backlit display, so whenever the laptop's display dims on the front, the logo dims, and when the display turns off, the Apple logo turns off as well. One of my favorite features is that, so I wanted to show you that. But now coming back to the front of the laptop, you may be wondering, well, I like to listen to music and watch movies. Well, as do I. So I have already put in Life of Pi, and when you put a movie in, an icon of that movie shows up right here on the desktop. And Apple has their own DVD player software installed, comes with the OS. And it kind of looks like a variation of QuickTime Player, but it's called DVD Player. I've minimized it, but I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and this is it. You can full screen it like this, and now you may be wondering, What's the sound quality? What's the image quality? This isn't Apple's newer displays. It's no OLED, no nothing like that. Your iPhone is going to have a better display than this laptop, but this laptop still displays in 1080p high definition. So it may not be as crisp as a video you watch on your iPhone or your 4K television, but it's still pretty good. And here's the sound quality. When I hit play, the volume's turned up all the way. The laptop is spinning the disc, and we'll go to scenes. And we'll go ahead and pick a scene where let's go right here. You probably can't hear much, but these speakers on this MacBook have a really crisp sound. I think it's typical Apple that the volume doesn't get too loud. I have the volume turned up all the way, and this is somewhat quiet, but other than that, the image quality and the sound quality for this laptop is very good. These speakers definitely have a crisp, kind of premium sound, very, Apple-like. And honestly, this laptop will impress you with its abilities, even as it is pretty old. So, there's the movie, and as you can hear, the exhaust fan, I don't know if you can hear it, is spooled up pretty good. Like I said, the laptop gets warm, but it's not bad, nothing to really worry about. And you can see here the DVD player kind of leaves its thing up, but anyways, that's pretty much it. If you are interested in purchasing one of these, they are a little hard to find online. Search Amazon or eBay, punch in the model number, and one will come up. And simply just close it, and there you go. It's hibernating, and that is it. So I would like to thank you guys for spending the time with me to overview this MacBook A1181, and I'll catch you on the next video. Alright, bye.